presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three.
Oh, three in a row.
Big Ten champions.
National champions, yes. The Ducks take home an indoor national title.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It is Oregon Softball World Series game day coming up from Oklahoma City at 6:30. Oregon softball facing UCLA. All those games are on the ESPN family of networks, and Saul Galvan and Aiden Hess from KWVA, our friends from the student radio station, are in Oklahoma City ready for a broadcast on the hometown radio, home of Oregon softball. Best of luck to Missy Lombardi and her squad here tonight. We've got more on Oregon softball coming up throughout today's show, including a conversation with the voice of the team, Saul Galvan, and Coach Lombardi, and a few student athletes meeting with the media before the Ducks take on UCLA here tonight. One of the last 8 teams playing. Doesn't get old. Doesn't get old. Best of luck to Oregon softball tonight. More on that. Because first, we've got kickoff times. Oregon football schedule is starting to come together. The Big Ten Conference and its media partners announced kickoff times and TV designations for, count 'em, 6 2025 Oregon football games this morning. The Ducks will open the 2025 season at home against Montana State on Saturday, August 30th at Autzen Stadium. That game will kick off at 1 o'clock on the Big Ten Network. Now, of course, we will have every broadcast for you right here on the Oregon Sports Network. Pre-game, 11 a.m. for the opener against Montana State on August 30th. Going to be here before you know it. Again, a 1 o'clock start on Big Ten Network. Then Oregon will host Oklahoma State in a non-conference showdown on Saturday, September 6th. That game has been selected by our friends at CBS for a 12:30 Pacific time kickoff. You love an afternoon game in September, huh? Love an afternoon game in September. Oklahoma State, that game will kick off at 12:30 on Saturday, September 6th. Oregon will then go on the road for a Big Ten opener in Week 3. The Ducks are traveling to Northwestern on Saturday, September 13th. That's been selected for Big Noon kickoff. 9 a.m. Pacific time on Fox. The Ducks open Big Ten play at Northwestern. Week 5 will feature a Big Ten championship game rematch between Oregon and Penn State in University Park, Pennsylvania. That'll be the big NBC game at 4:30 p.m. Pacific time. Ducks will travel to Rutgers on Saturday, October 18th for either a 3:30 Pacific time kick or 4 o'clock Pacific time kick. TV for that game is still being determined. Oregon's game against Minnesota at Autzen Stadium has been moved up to Friday, November 14th, set for a 6 p.m. Pacific time kickoff on Fox. Limited season tickets remain for the 2025 Oregon football home slate, and a 3-game non-conference mini plan for the Ducks games against Montana State, Oklahoma State, and Oregon State is currently available. Fans can visit goducks.com/FBTix to secure their tickets today. So the full Oregon football schedule is as follows. Montana State, 1 o'clock, August 30th on BTN. September 6th, the following Saturday, against Oklahoma State, a 12:30 kickoff on CBS. Ducks then heading on the road September 13th, a Saturday, 9 a.m. Fox kickoff at Northwestern. The game on September 20th against Oregon State, still to be determined. That will be at Autzen Stadium. Then on Saturday, September 27th, the Ducks play at Penn State at 4:30 on NBC. And some games that are still TBD. On October 11th against Indiana. October 18th at Rutgers. We know it'll either be at 3:30 or 4. Not sure what TV network yet. October 25th, the game will be against Wisconsin. A to-be-determined time. At Iowa, November 8th, to be determined. But we do know that November 14th, the Minnesota matchup will be a Friday at Autzen Stadium at 6 o'clock on Fox. USC game still to be determined, and the at Washington game still to be determined. We've got kickoff times. Oregon football going to be here before we know it. Fall camp will get underway late July into August, ahead of that opener at 1 o'clock against Montana State on August 30th. I'm predicting 83 degrees, full sunshine at kickoff on August 30th. How's that sound against Montana State? I think that's about right. It's going to be so nice to be back at Autzen Stadium. Going to be here before we know it. Meanwhile, the Ducks are hoping to collect some more hardware here in the spring season, and they have collected some individual hardware on the softball diamond. Kedri Lushar, Riley McCoy, and Lindsey Grine all named NFCA All-Americans yesterday afternoon. Kai Lushar was honored with the New Balance NFCA Golden Shoe Award given to the nation's top base stealer. Kai Lushar leads Division I softball with 59 stolen bases in 67 attempts, ranks second nationally at .97 steals per game. Just about 1 steal per contest for Kai Lushar. The senior from Carson City, Nevada, currently tied for the Big Ten single-season steals record. With 1 more steal, maybe tonight against UCLA, she'll claim the conference record outright while also becoming just the 15th player in Division I history with 60 steals in a season. Hopefully she does it tonight. The Golden Shoe recipient, Kai Lushar. She leads the Ducks with 82 hits, 63 runs scored, 1 short of the school record at 63 runs scored, by the way, 35 walks, and a .517 on-base percentage. Meanwhile, Kedri Lushar, Riley McCoy, and Lindsey Grine each earned All-America honors for the first time in their careers. Kedri Lushar, a second-team honoree, leads the Ducks with a .444 average, 17 doubles, 1 shy of the school record, and 61 runs batted in. She ranks in the Big Ten's top 5 in batting average, doubles, hits, and steals. Riley McCoy, who was recently honored as an NFCA Freshman of the Year finalist, was named to the second-team All-America squad as well. She leads Oregon with a school record tying 19 home runs, a lot of school record mentions here, and leads all freshmen nationally in slugging percentage at .850. McCoy is hitting .399 with 58 runs batted in this year. Meanwhile, Lindsey Grine, a 29-2 record on the season, a 2.08 ERA, and 222 strikeouts. She's second nationally in wins, ranks 11th nationally in both strikeouts per 7 innings at 9, and fewest hits allowed per 7 innings at about 4.5. Grine ranks the Big Ten's top 5, ranks inside the Big Ten's top 5 in appearances, earned run average, saves, shutouts, strikeouts, and whip. 16th seeded Oregon opens the College World Series Thursday tonight at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time against number 9 seeded UCLA. It's going to be on ESPN2. Oregon, UCLA. This is what it's all about. Ducks have already won the regular season series against the Bruins. Big reason why Oregon won the Big Ten regular season title. 1 of 8 for this athletic department, by the way. It's just not going to get old saying that Oregon won the most conference titles of any school in the Big Ten this year. 8 of them. The Ducks have to play UCLA in the opening round of the Women's College World Series. 2 familiar foes that square off at 6:30 tonight. We'll preview that, get you set up for that matchup here coming up in just a little while. Also of note, before we zero back in on softball, track and field. The NCAA West first round continues here over the next day or so. And on day 1 of the NFC West first round, Oregon field standout Zafin Wills and Kobe Lawrence qualified for the 2025 NCAA Outdoor Championships. Wills, in his first of 2 events this week, qualified in the long jump, while Lawrence secured a spot in the shot put. The UO men also advanced 6 into the quarterfinal round that will get underway tomorrow. NCAA West first round prelims, trying to come back to Eugene, knowing that you're on a entry sheet at Hayward Field. More on track and field available on GoDucks.com as the Ducks continue to qualify for the national championships coming your way at Hayward Field here. It should always be here, but this year, we know it's here in Tracktown, USA. Timeout. We'll come back. and talk a lot more softball. Going to hear from Coach Lombardi, hear from some student athletes, talk with the voice of the team, Saul Galvan, who is there in Oklahoma City ready for a game tonight against the Bruins. Timeout. More coming on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I envisioned a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you inside the Country Financial Studio. So I was not in great pre-show routine today. I didn't pull up the live stream to tune in to questions, and Scott just goes, hey, did you see the question on YouTube? No, Scott, I didn't. But now I will open up, thank you, Scott, the YouTube stream so that I can see what Dave asked. Let's see. Joey, do you think the offense on the softball game tonight is more important than the pitching and defense will decide the game against Spurs? Gosh, oh, man. We are into the time of year where every coach in America, in the world, will say defense wins championships. I just don't think – I mean, look, when you get to this point of the season, there aren't a lot of runs to be scored. In general, when you get to the Women's College World Series, they're not high-scoring games. Pitching's too good. Defense is solid. I think it comes down to pitching and defense when you're at this level, especially because Oregon has demonstrated that the Ducks can manufacture runs and score in a variety of ways. Again, Kyle Luchar is about to become, knock on wood, just the 60th or the 15th player ever to steal 60 bases in a single season. Like, the Ducks can find different ways to score, and did against UCLA, actually, the first time these two teams played. I think it comes down to pitching and defense, Dave, and that means that it's going to be 13-11 in Oklahoma City tonight. Oregon over UCLA. We'll see how it goes. Before he headed to Oklahoma City, I tracked down Saul Galvan, and we talked with the guy who's going to have the call coming up on KWVA, the student radio station here at the University of Oregon, kwva.uoregon.edu if you want to tune in. Saul Galvan will have the call. We reviewed the season so far, how the Ducks got here, and now we get ready for a matchup with the Bruins at 6:30 tonight. Our conversation with Saul Galvan. Before he heads to Oklahoma City, Saul Galvan here, voice of the Oregon softball team. got a chance to make the call that the Ducks are going back to Oklahoma City. All right, if I told you in February that you'd be hopping on a plane here soon to fly to OKC, what would you have said?
See, it's a good question, bit of an unfair question, though, because you always believe that you're going to be in Oklahoma at the end of the season, but, as the season goes on, you're like, okay, is it going to happen? It's going to take a lot to happen. Some things have to work out, and luckily for the Ducks, it worked out. So I think you would have asked me in the beginning, I would have said, like, yeah, we're going to be there. But throughout the season, there were times when I was like, okay, it's going to be a long shot. And now I get chills, honestly, saying it now. Like, I'm going to the World Series. It's unbelievable. It's one of the things you dream as a broadcaster is to go call a national championship.
It is a fun environment. I've done it twice, calling softball games in Oklahoma City. It is a fun environment. I mean, you talk about like how it's Tracktown USA, right? And the track and field championship should be here in Eugene at Hayward Field every year. We can all, I think, agree on that coming from the University of Oregon. But like Omaha in baseball, right? Oklahoma City in softball. There are these environments and these venues that become so special and become synonymous with a championship for a sport. That's what it is for softball. I mean, the USA Softball Hall of Fame is in the same parking lot as the ballpark that you're going to be calling a game in. So that puts it in perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I mean it's kind of cool because you're looking back to the pre-conference tournaments when you have all these teams coming together like the Mary Nutter. It's not just about the teams that are playing. It's about softball. Like, that's what this weekend's about. It's just about bringing together people who are softball fans but also who aren't. Some newer fans that are like, you know what, let me go check this out. And just to get introduced to that environment of 8 of the best teams in the nation playing for a national championship, like that has to draw a lot of fans every single season. So it's going to be a fun weekend. Like you said, there's going to be a lot of, I imagine a lot of Duck fans there as well, but there's also going to be a lot of fans from the other teams. So it's just going to be a great environment overall.
Well, and you mentioned, I mean, you're one of the last 8 playing, right? Like that's pretty special. It's hard to get there. It's hard to get to the Women's College World Series. We're going to unpack a lot of it. Saul Galvan joining us. He will have the hometown radio call for every Oregon softball game, including the opener coming up against UCLA on Thursday. We'll break all that down. First, though, let's relive a fun moment for Saul and for Oregon softball.
2, swing and a miss! It's over! Say it with us, Duck fans! Oregon is headed to the World Series! They were doubted, but they never doubted themselves. And the Ducks are flying to OKC. It's been a long 7-year wait. It's been 2,555 days.
Good pull, Aiden.
But for the first time, under head coach Melissa Lombardi, the Oregon Ducks are going to have a World Series appearance to show for it.
I want to see Aiden Hess, your broadcast partner. I want to see Aiden Hess's notebook where he added up the days.
Oh, he did. He did beforehand.
Outstanding.
He did some math before the game. I saw him do it. He was like, all right, when's the last time they been to the World Series? 2018. Okay, jump in the calculator online. How many days ago was this date? Whatever.
So great.
So, I mean, yeah, props to Aiden for having that ready in the moment.
And Aiden's going to go with Saul, by the way, so you'll hear both those voices on the KWVA broadcast. But, hey, that's a special moment, right? I mean, you're young in your career. I'm still relatively young in my career, I think. Who knows? I can get fired tomorrow. But the truth is, like, hey, that's why you came to a school like Oregon, isn't it?
It's moments like that. Lindsey Grimes said it a couple weeks ago. Those are the reasons that you come to Oregon for. You come to win championships. And this has been a special year, not just for the softball team, but in Oregon in general. 8 Big Ten championships in the first year in the conference. Like we were talking about beforehand, that's unheard. You don't see that level of success from one school in their first year in a new conference when there's so much to navigate and so much to deal with. And honestly, again, like that's been the challenge with this team this year is a lot of new faces, a lot of new places that you're playing, a lot of new opponents as well. But through it all, they've remained resilient. They've been together as a team. They played like a flock, like I said a few weeks ago, and they've just battled everything together. And I think they earned this opportunity to compete for a national championship.
Saul Galvan joining us. I'm curious, too, if you agree with this take, because I thought that the series against Liberty was in a lot of ways a microcosm of what Oregon's entire season was, where you have this drama, this high blood pressure game, then you get somebody coming up in a big situation in Des Patman, and she comes through. Maybe that wasn't who was on your bingo card going into the weekend of, maybe even going into postseason of who's going to have that big hit, right? Des Patman gets it, Ducks end up winning in dramatic fashion. And then Lindsey Grimes seems to just pitch as the best pitcher in the country, a first-team All-American according to D1 softball, and the Duck offense just smokes Liberty. I mean, I felt like those two games, the way that they played out, the entire series, like the Ducks have demonstrated they can win in multiple ways. And I felt like this weekend was a real microcosm of that.
And not even just win in multiple ways, but also win using multiple players too, right? It's not just about relying on Patman. It's not about relying on Grind. It's the whole lineup, 1 through 9, even the pinch hitters as well. Like, these last 2 weekends, the Ducks have used everybody. At some point, as someone in the lineup has contributed. You know, one player I want to highlight, Kaylin Jones. I mean, she had a few hits as well in that game. They didn't bring home a run, but still, like, that's something that Oregon needed the last couple weekends. They just needed contributions from everybody at some time. And they talk about it all the time. They talk about taking strain from each other and not, you know, having it all on one person. And you could see that's what happened the last 2 weekends, especially against Liberty, is that everybody stepped up in some different way. Night 1, it was Patman. Day 2, it was Grind. But even the offense as well, putting up a 7th spot in that 7th inning. So just the fact that, you know, that's the team right now, is that it's not just one person. You look at some of these other teams, too, that are competing for a World Series this weekend. You know, there's 1 or 2 players that are the stars for that team.
Right.
And you can argue that for Oregon, but the Ducks are so much more than just 1 or 2 players.
You know, you mentioned, too, like the depth of this team. That's been a key offensively for sure. And I want to highlight somebody in Kedri Lushar. I mean, Kedri Lushar this season, an All-American, a second-team All-American announced by D1 Softball, going to continue to garner a ton of awards here as we're in award season now for softball. Kedri Lushar, though, to me is an ultimate example of you develop, it takes time, and then you put together a great season. And without Kedri Lushar in the middle of the order, the Ducks probably aren't going to Oklahoma City.
No, not at all. And again, like the development from last year to this year is really substantial. She was hitting 192 last year, and now she's hitting over 460. And one of, if not the best player in the nation right now, competing with some of the top names from all these other teams that are competing for a World Series this year. And just the leadership aspect as well, having her along with her sister Kai and the bond they have together with Paige as well, another captain for this team, like that's really what brought this team together. Throughout the season, the freshmen have been highlighted as the real identity of this group, that the freshman phenom as they've been called. But now as we get into postseason play, they might need to rely a little bit more on the seniors. And it showed this past week, and a lot of the seniors contributed. Paige Sinicki had a big hit home run in that second game against Liberty. Kedri Lushar, Kai Lushar, they were all stepping up, even Patman as well. This is the time where, yeah, you want your freshmen to perform, but it's also when you want your seniors to step up.
So the season, not done yet. Thursday against UCLA. The Ducks are the last game in the opening day of the Women's College World Series. And I pause because I'm realizing it just seems fitting that the West Coast teams will play in the West Coast time slot, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's 8:30.
8:30 local.
6:30
so Pacific time.
So, I mean, dinner time, pop in front of the TV, eat dinner with the family, watch Oregon softball play.
Yeah, that's the plan. But, of course, a familiar opponent, right? Yeah. And now to get here, this is an important piece of context, I think, for the entire season. In order to get to this point, Ducks won a series against UCLA. Big reason that Oregon won the Big Ten title. Won a series against UCLA, the team that finished right behind them. What do you remember from that weekend at the Jane?
I think you were talking about before about how this Liberty series was like a microcosm of their season. I think that UCLA series was probably a better representation because Game 1, very close battle. Ducks took it out, and they relied on Grind. Grind had an amazing performance. Game 2 wasn't exactly what they wanted. They got run-ruled in that game. But then they were resilient. They came back the next day, and they run-ruled UCLA. Like, that's been this team all season long. There's a reason that this team is in the position that they are right now is because they haven't lost 2 in a row. They do not take a loss and let it affect their next game. And that's so big for postseason play, especially in the first round when it's double elimination. You can lose 1, but if you lose 2, you're done. And that's going to be the big factor this weekend is you can lose 1, but how you're going to respond the next day. And I think with UCLA especially, they've seen them 3 times already. They know what they're going to bring to the table, the pitching, the hitting, everything. Like, you know, you don't really get that opportunity sometimes with teams from different conferences coming in and playing this World Series to see them before. But I think the Ducks have an advantage of seeing UCLA 3 times early this season, so it's going to give them a big opportunity to get ahead fast in their first game.
Oregon, UCLA in Oklahoma City in the Women's College World Series tonight. The Ducks square off with the Bruins at 6:30 on ESPN2. And Saul Galvan, the voice you just heard, will have the call on KWVA from the student radio station here at the University of Oregon. We'll get a timeout, come back, continue to break down Oregon softball. Postseason Diamond Sports. Oregon baseball getting ready for the Eugene Regional as well. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Women's College World Series coming up from Oklahoma City. I'm Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We continue our conversation with the voice of the Duck softball team, Saul Galvan. He'll have the call from Oklahoma City tonight when the Ducks face UCLA, a familiar foe in the Women's College World Series this evening at 6:30. We continue to break down the matchup with Saul. UCLA's seen them too, right? It's a familiar scouting report, a familiar foe. Remind fans of the Bruins. What do you expect?
Well, Caitlin Terry has been their star pitcher all season long. Jordan Woolery, she hit the walk-off hit against South Carolina to keep UCLA in that series. And South Carolina wasn't an easy team to beat, right? Going from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast and beating one of the top teams in the nation, like that's not an easy thing to do. So the Bruins, they have some momentum on their side, but same thing with the Ducks as well. You know, seeing them before and just having the power that they have, having the depth of lineup that they are able to put out there, it's going to be a very evenly matchup, but I think the Ducks do have an advantage in that one.
Lindsey Grine. Boy, against Liberty, an impressive performance. Again, a first-team All-American, and maybe didn't have the performances that she was used to toward the end of the season. Sure looked like against Liberty, the Lindsey Grine that we saw for the majority of the regular season.
Yeah, Grine got back to her form, and that's what you want going into postseason. You want your ace pitcher to be at the top of her game. Sokolsky was right there helping out. As you saw, Stacey Chambers, a lot of really good performances, but to have Grine back in form and to have her as that ace status, that's exactly what you want in postseason, because game one, elimination game, you're going to put her out there and you need her to dominate.
Yeah, and she's usually done that.
Yeah,
she's usually done that. How critical, though, has it been Stacey Chambers over the last couple weeks?
It's been so – I think that, we were talking about beforehand too, Stacey Chambers is really the difference maker. Like Patman has been the difference maker on offense, winning the games that they have, but the reason that they're in those games and the opportunity to walk it off is because of Chambers. Like, she has been the one that's coming from the bullpen, have given the Ducks big innings in postseason play. And throughout the season, fans were wondering, like, is she going to play? Like, she was injured for a majority of non-conference play, started to get back into rhythm during the Illinois series, and she wasn't pitching a whole lot. So, you're just looking at the innings like, okay, who's going to be that third option? But she came into that Stanford game through over 4 innings, kept the Ducks right in there, and then same thing too against Liberty. Like, she was right there, came out of the bullpen, was able to dominate a lot of the lefties in the lineup, which is a reason that you recruit a lefty pitcher like her, is for those lefty-lefty matchups, and that's what she did. She just kept Oregon in it. She didn't give them perfect innings, but that's not what you need to do if you're a pitcher. You just need to keep your team in the game.
Offensively now, I think that this has been a key for Oregon, and it was certainly influential on both sides for the Ducks this past weekend, the stolen bases.
Yeah.
Oregon's ability to advance into scoring position, the Ducks' ability to score on, shall we say, some creative base running, right? Because the Ducks have so much speed, I think that's a real X factor for Oregon in this tournament. And I'm curious your perspective, especially after, they have the calls that go against them in Game 1. Then, as Kai Luchar put it, we're going to get it corrected, and it got corrected.
It did. And that's, again, the adjustments that this team is able to make after something doesn't go their way. They don't throw in the towel and say, all right, this is going to affect us for the rest of the game. They make the change if they can mid-game, and if not, they go next game. And I mean, like you were saying, the first game, credit to Liberty, too, for, acknowledging something like that, because that's not something that other teams have been challenging Kai on all season, but they kind of saw that, and they took advantage of it and helped them out for a little bit. But for Kai to go in and make that adjustment from one day to the next, and one of the calls didn't go her way, but the other ones did, and just having that ability to regroup and make the adjustment, from day 1 to day 2. I mean, that's something that a lot of base runners need some time to get used to. But she was able to do it within the span of 24 hours, and it worked out for the Ducks the next day.
Talking softball with Saul Galvan before he has the call for a week in Oklahoma City. That's the plan. You're scheduled to be there until at least next Wednesday.
I was going to say week and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it's a ways.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a good place to spend some time, though.
Class will be a little bit interesting.
How are you doing that? Again, student broadcaster. Yeah. We say student athlete, right? Student broadcaster. So don't fail any classes.
No, I won't.
Are you sure?
I hope.
I hope. Saul Galvan, though, going to have the call coming up from Oklahoma City. Okay, I've got a key. I'm curious what your keys are, not just against UCLA, but I think in the postseason, I know it's a little bit cliche, but I think it's been particularly true for this team. Defense wins championships. Good defense behind a couple great starts on the mound in the circle. I like where this team's going to be.
Yeah, defense I think is going to be – you were talking about base running right now, but I think defense might be the X factor that gets them past some of these games. Because even against Liberty, too, they had some great defense. There were a lot of opportunities where the Flames could have got back. Kedry Luchar made a bunch of catches. Paige Snicki, too. On the right side, Caitlin Jones. Like, this team goes 100% on every single defensive opportunity. And that's – they haven't turned as many double plays as they have last year, but – they haven't needed to because there haven't been too many base runners on.
True.
So I just feel that, defense is going to be a big thing that will probably keep them in the game. If you can keep the ball in the yard, because Grind, usually a strikeout pitcher, Sokolsky likes the weak contact, and if both of them can just let their defense play behind them, not have to go out and be perfect, I think this team has a real good shot at advancing next week.
What's the feeling on the entire bracket? Like, what's your breakdown of the 8 that are going to Oklahoma City?
That's a good question. Once I saw Oregon, I just forgot about the other bracket.
Well, look, hey, that's Oregon versus Oregon, right? Yeah. I mean, you just take care of business, and then you're going to like the outcome. I think that's a fair answer to that question.
Well, and again, there's a reason that these teams are playing here. Like, these are some of the best teams. Not, they weren't the top 8 seeds, right? Oregon was kind of in the lower bracket, got the last seed in the regional. And it's funny, too, how the things worked out for them, that they were able to host a super regional, and now they're going to the College World Series. Like, that's just the funny thing of the way softball works out.
Right.
But some of these other teams, like, people expected them to be in this position. Tennessee, Texas Tech, like, those are the teams that at the beginning of the year, like, okay, we expect them to see in Oklahoma. Nobody expected to see Oregon, at this position with all the new things that they had to face on.
Right.
And I think that's really what makes Oregon kind of a underdog and, has the ability to win this, is that everybody has written them off at some point, but they haven't written themselves off.
Yeah, I mean, you look at who's there, right? And in the other side of the bracket from the Ducks, and the way the Women's College World Series bracket works, there's actually potential where you could flip brackets. It's one of the interesting quirks of this 2 double elimination brackets. But like Florida, Texas, Tennessee, Oklahoma, that's the 3, 6, 7, and 2 national seed. So that you look at and go, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? That went chalk. Oregon's in the bracket that got a little bit more chaotic, where it's the 12 seed in Texas Tech who's there. Ole Miss, not a nationally seeded team, is there. Then Oregon, the 16, and UCLA is the 9. That's where it didn't go chalk. I like Oregon's chances.
Well, and I think Oregon too has had that opportunity to play some of these teams that they knew they were going to see. Like, Coach Lombardi did a great job with scheduling.
They played Tennessee. They beat them this year.
Exactly. Tennessee, UCLA, all these teams that you think, all right, you're going to play at some point in the postseason. It's going to give you a great competition. But now that they've seen Tennessee, now that they've seen UCLA, it really does give you an advantage when you get ready to play in the postseason.
What else should fans know?
Just get ready. I think this team is going to make a splash. I really, obviously, hometown bias, being on the show and everything.
That's what we are.
But I think just being with this team all season long, you can really see that they just don't give up, right? Like, they don't lose twice in a row. They're resilient. They're always with each other. Doesn't matter if they're down by, 5 runs or they're up by 13. Like, they're going to play 100%. And it may sound a little cliche, but I think that, again, they're going in as the last team in, that even though they're number 1 seed in the bracket, they're going as that kind of 8 team. People are like, all right, maybe Oregon could do something here. But I really think that, all the outside noise, they don't care about it. They just want to go out. They want to win. I think they have the ability to do that.
I love the point that you've made, though, about how they have consistently responded. They haven't lost 2 in a row. Right, and in a double elimination bracket, that's a critical thing to remember.
Yep.
Haven't lost 2 in a row. The schedule ahead, Oregon, UCLA, a 6:30 scheduled start. The Ducks are the final game of the day on Thursday against UCLA, 6:30 Pacific time. Things will get underway. Pre-game,
about 20 minutes beforehand.
And maybe that first game will be on time for you.
Yeah. Stay tuned to our socials.
Yeah. So in these tournaments, I'm telling you, it's very rare that the last game of the day starts on time.
Yeah. Well, I was a little scared, too, because the bracket, when it came out, was an East Coast time, and I got worried for a second. I'm like, are we playing at 9:30 at night?
Right.
But then I realized Oklahoma was in the Midwestern time zone. So, yeah, Central Time.
6:30 Pacific time, Oregon, UCLA, familiar foes squaring off in Oklahoma City. Saul Galvan and Aiden Hess will have the call on KWVA. Encourage you to tune in for a hometown radio broadcast. Have some fun out there, will you?
Let's have some fun. Bring back some hardware.
Awesome stuff with Saul Galvan. He will have the call coming up from Oklahoma City here tonight. And when we return, we're going to hear from head coach Melissa Lombardi. Pre-WCWS press conference. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
With a great selection of new Toyotas, everyone knows your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer, even your pet parrot.
Right, the summer starts here.
Well said.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 2nd.
Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
With a great selection of new Toyotas, everyone knows your summer starts here at your Toyota dealer, even your pet parrot.
Right, the summer starts here.
Well said.
Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends June 2nd.
Toyota, let's go places.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Every time you get to this kind of stage, there's always the pre-event media. And that's exactly what Coach Lombardi did yesterday. Duck softball taking on UCLA tonight. Melissa Lombardi met with the media yesterday previewing the Women's College World Series for Duck softball.
First of all, we're really excited to be here. I think about this group in the end of September, and we met for the first time. And at that time, I could feel that they had a lot of energy and something was different. Something was very special about them. We spoke in the fall about winning a Big Ten. We spoke about winning, hosting a regional, hosting a super regional, and then putting ourselves into position to compete in OKC for a national championship. And to watch this team come together all year and have many moments of joy, many moments of adversity, and watch them handle both, which with such grace, with such determination to play hard and fight for each other, and then to watch them go into postseason and battle two very difficult teams and know that they were going to get what they want and push their way and get into Oklahoma City. They are committed to each other. They cannot wait to get started, and we are really looking forward to playing in such an amazing atmosphere in OKC.
Talking with Patty earlier, she volunteered that one of the things that you had mentioned to her this year, that you felt that this was the right team. Why was this the right team? When you were losing as much as you were from last year with a senior-laden team, why was this the right team, either compared to last year or the 23 and 21 teams that had a lot of pitching, but maybe not the volume of depth of hitting and pitching that you had this year? But that's my observation. Why was this the right team in your mind?
It was the right team. I think of all of our versions prior to version 7, and they have helped prepare us to get to this point. Our seniors, they left the torch for this group to take it and run with it. But again, just in the fall, you could just feel such a difference with this group. There was so much more depth with this group in all areas, just with our culture. And I think of Kai and I think of Paige and what they have done for our culture this year and the leadership that they have provided. You could see this team start out as a team where for us as coaches, we had to help lead them along the way. But then as we got going and the more experiences that they got, the growth that they got through the tough schedule that we played, they started to become a player-led team. And I just look at what this group has done on the field, but more importantly, what they're doing off the field, and it's the deep connection that they have. There's no surface here. They play hard for each other. They have tough conversations because they know it's going to make each other better, and those are things that are needed besides us, also having a team that's very talented to be able to do the things that we've been able to do all year.
You talked about the adversity this team had to overcome this season, but your journey here at Oregon has been one faced with adversity from 2019 to 2020 and COVID and losing half a season. Just what are some of the lessons you learned from your first 2 years that you were able to take in this season that allowed you to develop and grow these players and help get this squad to where they're obviously here today?
First off, every version that I've been a part of, every one of them has been so special. And I think of version 1, and it was a tough year for us. And you know what? We didn't feel sorry for ourselves. We stuck together, we battled through, and we had a great year. And I think of the next year and having to go into COVID and again, dealing with some tough times. But as a group, we always stuck together and pushed. We could either push through or feel sorry for ourselves, and we didn't want to do that. We wanted to push through and absolutely compete. And so just watching each version layer onto the next version and get them ready for what's next. Sometimes you just want something and you want it right now, but you need to, nurture it a little bit, put it together. It just takes a little time. And you could see as we were going through it, you're starting to see these athletes that were coming in that were just understanding the vision completely and wanting in and wanting to compete. And you could just see that with this group. They want in, and they want our culture to be unbelievable, which is great. They want to be able to compete and love competing with each other, and they do. This group is such a hard-working team, and I don't think this group would be here without the foundation of version 1. So it was tough, but it was absolutely 100% worth this ride.
Melissa, you've compared this team, I believe, to Sid Romero's freshman team at OU, and I'm curious what parallels you see there in this group, and also off of what Kai said, maybe what you guys did differently in the fall that brought some different things out of this team.
I think about that group, and it was the same. It was a mixture of a young freshman class sprinkled in with some different, some older athletes that were experienced, and some athletes that were juniors and sophomores and juniors that were experienced. And so just going through this year, this group reminds me of that. I mean, the two teams are very different, obviously, but then similar with that. I think about our freshmen this year, and we talk a lot about taking on strain, and everybody needs to have the ability to take on strain, and usually you see that more through your upperclassmen that are experienced. And our upperclassmen have taken on a lot of strain, but then to watch our freshmen like Riley and to watch Stephanie Mayaki and just all these other guys, they've been a huge part of what we've done. And that's attributed to this group right here, our seniors, that have forced them to play at a high level. And I think about that in Coach Romero's year. They were forced to play at a high level from experienced athletes. And so to see our freshmen stand up to it and say, yes, let me know what you need me to, for them to, our seniors to ask them to play at a higher level and for them to do that. And so to me, that is the leadership that we have here that I'm really, really proud about. We have such great leadership on and off the field. They trust each other so much. They work hard and play hard for each other versus themselves. And I think that's really important when you're doing something like this and competing for a national championship. To speak on the fall, we got to do some things that were different than we've done before. We needed to push ourselves. We've pushed ourselves before, but we needed to push ourselves in a different way. And by that, we needed to understand how to do challenging things and not be stressed by challenging things, but to embrace and to enjoy every minute of it and the opportunity of it to get to versus have to. And I think the lessons that we learned in the fall really took us into the spring and set a really good foundation for our non-conference schedule. And then from there, that preparing us for our conference, and then again, preparing for postseason.
Missy, Lindsay's had a great season, but how much does also Elise and even Stacy in this postseason played into that as well?
They have all played into it. We've talked all year that if we want to be standing here, we have to have a staff to be able to do that. And what I'm very, very proud of is our staff and what they've done. This staff is different. This group is just different, but our staff is different as well. I love how much they love each other. I love that when they take the ball from each other, that they hug each other. And when they do that, it's saying, I got you. I will finish this for you. They work on their craft, but they also work on each other's as well. They're very aware of what the other is doing, and they're a team within a team. And I think of softball, and it's about pitching. It's always been, and you've got to be able to have that staff that can handle different looks that they're going to see. And I love that our staff can do that. I think about Stacy Chambers. She was injured in her first weekend, and then from there had to get some things situated and rehab and get back. And so it was just taking her a little bit to get back to where she needed to be. And Indiana, we're playing them. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Game is tied up. She hasn't had a lot of innings, and I said, Stacy, let's go. Because she was the matchup, she's a competitor, and I knew that she was going to get it done. And that's what I think about with every one of our pitchers.
Thinking about that and what Coach Lombardi was just talking about, it's the ultimate example. You never know when your number gets called. You never know when the team needs you to step up in that way. Stacey Chambers been banged up, as Saul and I were talking about, and Next thing you know, down the stretch, Stacey Chambers has been a huge reason that Oregon is now playing tonight in the Women's College World Series against UCLA. That was Coach Lombardi meeting with the media before the action gets underway tonight. When we return, let's hear from some players. Student-athletes Lindsey Grind, Kyle Luchar, Paige Sinicki next in the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is, this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Women's College World Series action tonight. Oregon softball against UCLA. Lindsey Grind, Kyle Luchar, and Paige Sinicki met with the media previewing the Women's College World Series coming up. Some All-America honors and a golden shoe given out to this crew. Lindsey Grind, Kyle Luchar, Paige Sinicki meeting with the media ahead of Oregon's matchup with UCLA at 6:30 tonight.
To the players, to that point of just where this program's kind of been built up from the ground up, what is it like watching a coach do that and just putting all your faith into her?
It's just incredible. I think we grow, but coaches also grow too, and it's super cool just to see our journey and everything that we've been through together and where we're at right now. It's it's just amazing. It's indescribable, honestly.
Yeah, I think watching the amount of work she's put in, obviously coming in as a transfer, I met Coach this past year. She really cultivates those relationships off the field just as she does on the field. So she's bought into you as a person before you as an athlete. So I think the way she's gone about making us a family and inviting us all into hers has shown up for the success that you guys have witnessed this season. So I'm super excited to carry that on.
Yeah, she's told us to trust her from day one, and I know all of us, especially the senior class, has just really bought into growing with her, and that's something that she's been able to do for us these years, and just being able to trust someone that's really helped us become great, young, and strong women. It's just so cool that it's bigger than softball at the end of the day, that she's trying to grow us for something bigger in life, so I think that's something that's been so awesome to have from her.
Kai, you mentioned that teams can grow, coaches can grow. When you think about the journey from September to now, whether it's the mile markers, a turning point, where do you see that growth, or where did you see it to get you guys here playing on the last weekend of May?
We did some things that we have never done before in the fall, and I think we just really learned to dive in and just attack and let it loose. We had things in us that I didn't think we were allowing to get let out, if that makes sense. So I think that has been one of the biggest things this year where we've grown, just to put it all on the table and let it be there, leave, come back the next day, do it all again.
First for Kai and Paige, to go back to, if you picked up the proverbial torch from the classes before, you've each managed to spend some time with players from the various different versions before you. We can look at numbers and stats and say, well, that's Ariel, or well, that's Bunk or Tara, or what have you, but we don't see all the other things that go on and all the trips and all those sorts of things. Who are, if you had to think of who are the shoulders that you stand on to get here, again, I can rattle off all the names, but who comes to mind for you two as to who those players were?
Kai, if you want to go first, Ken.
I think that's going to be different for every player, but for me personally, I think of like Hannah Delgado. There's so many. I honestly can't even tell you individual people, but all of them. But Hannah Delgado, Caitlin Howard, all kinds of people. So.
For me, I would say Allie Bunker. The moment I stepped on campus as a freshman, she took me under her wing and just taught me what it's like to be a leader on the field. And I was just able to grow so much from just her style of play. And she taught me a lot of things physically, but she was just this person that was a role model to me. And I think she was able to grow so much from Coach Lombardi, and I think she was able to teach me her ways and just help get this program to where it needs to be when she left.
What do you attribute the success of this season specifically? Because, again, you were already good at VATEC, obviously, but how did you go from being really good to being great and nearly untouchable against top teams?
I mean, I think it was just the ability to play free, and I think that this group allowed me to do that between my coaches, our support staff, and then obviously my teammates. I think when you're around the right people and you're working towards one mission, it's easy to just go compete and play, and I'm really thankful to have a group that's allowed me to do that.
Each of you have had your own journeys, your own walks of life that you came for before you came to Oregon, and that you've dealt with in your time in Eugene. Can each of you describe what this moment being in the Women's College World Series means to you, considering that what each of you have gone through in your own individual lives and what you've gone through together as a team as well to get to this point?
Kai, if you could start, then go down the line.
You know, it's a dream come true. Like, I came here in 2016 as a spectator with my dad, sister, and a friend, and most people will never get to experience it. So I'm just so grateful, and it's just astounding, you know, coming here when you're little and then being able to play. It's incredible.
Kai Lushar, Paige Sinicki, Lindsey Grine, meeting with the media before the Ducks take on UCLA in the Women's College World Series tonight. They call it the greatest show on dirt. Speaking from experience, I've been there a couple times now calling Oregon softball games in the Women's College World Series. It is that. It is such a fun environment. Ducks are the final game today. Games are going on now if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, wrapping up the show today. This is fun. 6:30 tonight, Oregon, UCLA. It's on ESPN2, also on KWVA. Tomorrow, a lot of baseball preview as we get ready for the Eugene Regional. More coming on the Oregon Sports Network. Talk to you tomorrow.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness?
Yep, thank you.
It's illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course. You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high. Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's